Fabio Forn appeared on Jim Jones's podcast. Yes, Jim Jones has a podcast. Seems like everybody nowadays has a podcast. The artist podcasts sometimes just don't do well, but hey, he's getting great feedback. He's getting a lot of clicks and bait because of this recent Fabio Forn clip. And basically, Fabio Forn essentially says, hey, Nas, I don't really know Nas's music. I grew up on Chief Keef and whoever else he mentioned, man, because I don't even know. Who else did he mention? Chief Keef, Gino, stuff like that. So let's play the clip, and then I'll talk about, what he's talking about.
All right, let me just say one thing. What I feel. I grew up with niggas like Sosa, Gino, and I'm not saying that the man is wacky. He's not a legend. He's been out for years. Look, I got a song with the nigga, and I got a song on the album. Album got a Grammy, but I can't sit there and say a Nas bar to you or a song. I like One Mic, or like a song that's like.
But I can.
It's not me.
So, but I understand. So that's what I want the people to know. Like, but I can, cause Nas was my era. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Nas was my era. Like I came up fucking with Nas. Like we knew. I know the Nas shit. You know? But moving forward, I started a whole new era and a whole new genre and a generation of people that you did. But I just be doing me. But I'm just telling you how that was. So now that we on that type of shit. So who were some of your biggest influences as rappers coming up? Like, who made you feel like you wanted to become a rapper? Who was some of the people that you wanted to dress like? Like, let me hear some of that, because that's the essence of what makes a nigga become a basketball player. What makes a nigga become, like, who was that for you?
I'm gonna keep it real. I was infatuated with Chief Keef in Chicago. The shit was so. It was just like, it was crazy. I liked it. Meek Mills, Pain was crazy. I loved Dipset, Jim Jones, Joel Santana.
Thank you.
One, shout out to Chief Keef. He just turned 30 years old. Born same year as me. Shout out to him. Huge influence. He's always, I think he's, for the newer generation, he's influenced a lot. He kind of did his thing, and then he disappeared, and it made his aura a lot bigger because of that. Had he been still in the spotlight, I think his aura would have kind of dwindled down. But his aura grew because there's not that many interviews of him, and he just had this. To me, don't get mad at, to me, Finally Rich, it's basically a classic to me, man. And I don't call albums classics. Rarely. I have 4 classics ever that I've ever called classics. So to put this in there, I get, me, I'm 30 years old, same age as Chief Keef. When Chief Keef was popping, I was the same age as him. So he was an influence. He was the guy. And what made me really like Chief Keef is I found out about him first in my area where I was living at, and then I put people on. And that's what really made me enjoy Chief Keef more, because like a lot of people were like, oh shit, Quake, you were on this, like this is fire. So Chief Keef, I get where Fabio was saying that. But Fabio, correct me if I'm wrong, this guy is a lot older. How old is he? He is 35 years old, so he's 5 years older. So when Chief Keef started blowing up, which was in 2011, I was 2011, 2010, I was 15, so 16 years old. That's when Chief Keef started blowing up, and that's when I was listening to him. Mind you, Fabio is about 5 years older, so he would have been 20 to 21 years old. At 2021, who was I listening to at that time? It would have been 2015, 16. I was listening to Future. Who else at that time in 2016? Obviously Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, we know all those regulars, but Future was a huge moment at that. I remember 2015, 2016, Future was like, because DS2 had come out in 2015, and I just moved to Atlanta. Future was everywhere. I mean, every car was bumping him. It was something that, like, I was like, what the fuck? This is what New Yorkers experienced when 50 came out in 2003, basically. I experienced that in Atlanta. I got here right when, like, DS2 came out. So I bumped Future like crazy. But to say that that's my influence, like, if I was a rapper, I would not say Future. I think who got you into hip-hop first is usually what most people stick by. To me, I stick by it close. So Eminem's the one that got me into hip hop, but I ended up liking 50 Cent more. And he was like the second artist I got into. So for Fabio to say that his only influences Chief Keef, Meek Mill, and then Dipset, it kind of explains why his music is essentially dog shit. No disrespect. Because, listen, Fabio had a hit literally handed to him on a silver platter. And Fabio would not be nowhere if it wasn't for Pop Smoke. And if Pop Smoke was alive, nobody would be caring about Fabio right now. I'm just telling you right now. Pop Smoke was the one. Fabio was like the off-brand of that when it comes to the sound. Fabio was handed a hit by Kanye West and Alicia Keys. The New York City, please go easy on me tonight. That is a hit. That's a hit. It has the wrong artist on there. Fabio Forn. If Pop Smoke had that record, it would have skyrocketed. Fabio, not so much. Fabio is just, no disrespect, he's not a great artist. He's got good songs here and there, but I never sat there and was like, yay, new Fabio Forn. I love this guy. So it makes sense when I hear his music, you can kind of hear that influence. Not to say that Chief Keef, Meek Mill, or Dipset are trash. Growing up on that shouldn't make your music trash, but for him to like say, hey, I don't really rock with Nas, I didn't grow up on Nas, it makes sense. His music kind of makes sense. It fits that Meek Mill, Chief Keef era of music. Let's not sugarcoat things. Chief Keef was not the most lyrical rapper ever, right? He just made great sounding music, and he came from the streets, so that combination made it very interesting to hear. And he just made, honestly, man, him and Young Chop made great records, man. I hate being sober, like I don't know what the fuck he's saying on the record, but it's fire. Finally rich, blah 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 blah. So he had a lot of great records on his albums, and he still had great records after the albums. But it makes sense. And then you got Jim Jones saying, I influenced the whole generation. I'm like, bro, you dropped one song, We Fly High. That's it. Like, that's all people know you for. You're essentially a one-hit wonder. I can't, right now off the top of my head, I'm not even joking. I can't name if you put a gun to my head, I cannot name a second Jim Jones song right now off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. Let me just think about this. A second Jim Jones song outside of We Fly High. And what's crazy is I have one of his mixtapes or one of his albums on my phone. I haven't listened to it in such a long time. I can't think of. I think it's called Capo. So that might be, I can name a project probably, but other than that, I can't off the top of my head think of anything outside of We Fly High. And then Jim Jones, like, oh, I influenced a whole generation. Like, bro, you had one record. Just the fact that you're still relevant in today's time somehow, in some way, is crazy to me. And the only reason you actually got popping, like social media wise, and the only reason people are watching this clip and talking about it is because you guys are disrespecting Nas. Like, that's the level Nas is at. Where Jim Jones tried to make himself like next to Nas, and that always made me laugh, because Nas might have not sold millions of records and had number ones and stuff. He's had a consistent career, very consistent career, and he's got dope ass records, man, and some very slept on records. I was just listening to Hero with Carrie Hilson and Polo LaDon, that production. Just to Hero. That record is so fire. Nas knocks that shit out the park. That should have been a number one hit. But Nas has a lot of those tracks where they should have been really a lot bigger. Nas has this like underrated thing about him. You know, recently he's been getting his Grammy Awards, stuff like that, but still, like during his run, I felt like he was really underrated. He was viewed as like this guy who's just this lyrical guy, and then just people don't fuck with him. But he had a lot of records with catchy hooks and great beats and, you know, all this stuff. But with that being said, Fabio has lost his mind. And I get it. Hey, he's being honest. He's saying, hey, I'm not raised on him. And here's the thing, man. If somebody says, hey, I'm raised on this, I'm raised on that, and you don't agree with it, hey, everybody's different, man. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm the biggest Nas fan ever, and I listen to every Nas album that ever came out. No. I know, obviously, it was written Stillmatic, you know, these Illmatic, these albums here and there. What's the album? Life is Good, with the Trust Issues record, one of my favorites of Nas of all time. Yeah, have I listened to Nas albums here and there? But was I raised on Nas? If I'm going to say, hey, Nas is to me the greatest of all time, no. I wasn't raised on Nas either. But I was raised on 50, M, Jeezy, Game, Chameleonaire, Mike Jones, a bunch of different artists. T.I., whoever at that time in the mid 2000s was blowing up to late, to you could say 2010s as well. There's a lot of artists: Chief Keef, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake. I liked Wale. Who else, man? Kevin Gates. That type of artists. There's a lot that I listen to, but to say that to me, oh, Nas, like if somebody asked me, hey, who do you like as your top 5? Nas is not in my top 5. But I know that he, like, if you look at the overall, if you look at hip hop overall, he has to be in people's top 10s. Like in general, Nas is in people's top 10s. People that actually like hip hop, that actually listen to this shit top to bottom, and not just a casual listener. A casual listener would shit on Nas, like Fabio just did. He would shit on him and be like, yeah, I don't really fuck with Nas. But people who are hip hop fans, they got Nas in their top 10. Or at least top 15, to say the least. So yeah, same shit applies to Jay-Z. And I'm not really a big fan of Jay-Z. I troll him as much as I can, but I'm not. That's not me disrespecting him, though. I know Jay-Z is the reason why he's viewed as a top 10 or top 5 or even the best of all time is because he's been consistent. He's lyrical. He can give you different variations of music. But to me, I'm just saying for me, I don't really view Jay-Z as like this. I think he's overrated for me personally. But hey, that's just other people's opinions and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do listen to the music. So for Fabio to say I don't really know any records of Nas, it's kind of crazy to me, especially because you're from New York. You should be studying the New York greats. You should be listening to them, learning from them. But it is what it is, man. Different age gaps, stuff like that. He's older than me. I'm surprised that he wasn't raised on Nas. When Nas was in his prime, you could say, the late 90s and early 2000s, let's just say that's his prime, Fabio was anywhere from 8 years old to 12, 13 years old. Because he's 5 years older than me. And in 2000, I was 5 years old. So, of course, I'm not going to be raised on Nas. But when 50 came out in 2003, I was 8. So, 8, 9 years old. So, that's when you're a little bit more aware. I was more aware at that age. I could listen to different music. I could kind of dictate, what I like. But at 5 years old, obviously makes no sense. But Fabio was 7, 8 years old when Nas, or at least, I think 6 or 7 when he dropped his first album. By that age, like when Nas was hitting his prime, Fabio was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old in between there. So how do you not grow up on Nas? How do you not listen to Nas? That's what surprised me. But hey, that's what he says, so it is what it is. He got a lot of backlash for that, and I can understand why.